I believe I've just seen some big news in regard to the internet computer. And what is that? Did you know that Caffeine AI recently announced how it's now available directly in Claude? I'll get all into this in today's video, but I first want to clarify, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. This is just my outlook, my perspective, and nothing I say is financial advice. However, let's just take a look at the magnitude of something like this. We're talking about Claude here. Now, people like to say, well, are you saying that Caffeine AI is not massive? Well, not really when compared to Claude. We're talking about something like in the case of Claude that has around 30 million alleged monthly active users. So it's a completely different ecosystem here. And I'm not saying this to downplay Caffeine AI. I'm not saying that. The reason why I'm talking about Claude in such a high regard, especially when compared to Caffeine AI, is because this kind of highlights the importance of this, right? So the fact that Caffeine AI is now available in literally something like Claude showcases just how massive that accomplishment is. So we just got to let that sink in for a second. When it comes to Caffeine AI, they're not playing around. And the fact that they're even thinking about stuff like this showcases that they're not kind of fixated on their ways, because a lot of other projects out there, we see them launch a very compelling product, right? Let's say the product is pretty good, but then they very rarely want to make it available in other places. They rarely want to have a partnership, because sometimes I feel like they think about it as a sign of defeat. They think that if, let's say, they partner up with something that's more massive, or let's say they make it available in a place that is more massive, they just believe that this is a sign of defeat. But I don't agree with that. I think if anything, Caffeine AI is partnering up with more things. If, let's say, it's available in more places, it's only a net positive for it moving forward. Let's just take a look at this analogy. If we take a look at it in the case of Formula One, we see McLaren, we see Mercedes-Benz and all this. We see a lot of advertisements on there. Like, for instance, exchanges, just companies in general. But it's not a sign of defeat. If anything, it showcases that they're willing to expand and willing to make themselves more known. So it's not a bad thing. People like to tell me that Caffeine AI, it's never going to become as big as Claude. Well, probably yeah, but does it really need to be that big? Let's just think about this. Again, like I mentioned earlier on in this video, Claude allegedly has around 30 million monthly active users, at least last time I checked. Caffeine AI never has to come anywhere close to that. If Caffeine AI could just have a fraction of around 30 million monthly active users per month and actually consistently maintain that over many years, that's already a major victory. So it never needs to become as big as Claude or something like that. It never needs to become larger than like a Chat GPT or something like that. It doesn't need to do that. Or let's say in the case of Grok, there's no need. When it comes to in the case of Caffeine AI, it's a more niche product, right? But it doesn't mean that it's bad, in my opinion. And naturally, because it's a bit more niche, it might take quite a while to really gain mass scale adoption, but it doesn't really matter because they're taking the steps as of right now to probably make it not as niche. Case in point, it's now available directly in Claude, which means that it may be niche as of right now, which I think it is, but at least they're looking to kind of maybe break that mold. They're trying to expand beyond that. We'll see if they're successful or not. Only time will tell, but this is clearly a pretty amazing step in the right direction, in my opinion, at least fundamentally. So yes, the internet computer may be only 13 cents above its all-time low. Not its all-time high, right? It's all-time low. But on the flip side, they're at least doing things behind the scenes when it comes to the case of Dfinity, Caffeine AI, and by extension, I think this does affect something like the internet computer in a pretty positive way. I get it. People like to say, oh, it's just very boring as of right now. It's true when it comes to the price charts, but we have to consider this news right here. Caffeine AI allegedly now being directly available in Claude. If for whatever reason, Caffeine AI version 3 was available in 2024, which it wasn't, but let's just assume in a pure hypothetical if it was, and let's say this news was announced, could you imagine just how massive that would be? It would like be one of the most impressive things ever, right? But it's not as of right now. The reason why is because back in 2024, this was almost at $19 when it comes to the case of the internet computer. As of right now, it's only around $2. Its all-time low, keep in mind, is $1.98. We're not too far off that. which may sound like kind of a bad thing, but on the flip side, if I take a look at it, it's gotten better, allegedly, yet the price charts are lower. It typically doesn't work that way in real life, but it sometimes does operate within this space in that way, especially if there is a bear market. But besides that point, when I take a look at news like this, when I take a look at an update, I like to put myself in a frame of mind where, would this be something I would consider pretty impressive had the price been better? And if the answer is yes, then it almost doesn't really matter whether or not the price is doing good or not. I would still view that news or update in a more objective type of manner, because that way I'm not affected by the price charts. Because if I take a look at the price charts and it's at around $2, and then I take a look at this news, I'd be like, you know what, who really cares about this? But then when I think about it more logically, I believe that this would have been something so massive had the price charts been a little bit better. But it's not as of right now. But I'm just saying, still, this is pretty impressive stuff. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but I'm just talking about the news. I'm just talking about the update. Now, furthermore, if I take a look at in the case of Caffeine AI, we have to consider there's the marketplace, and then also on top of that, people can remix, stuff on the marketplace. So it's pretty impressive. Now, what do I mean by a remix? It's a little bit no different than, like, let's say a musician releasing a song and then a DJ, or let's say another musician remixes it. They make their own spin at it. They try to do their own version. It's a little bit no different here, but in this case, it's about apps, not, music or anything. Furthermore, there's been a new pricing model when it comes to Caffeine AI, which I made a video on, by the way. But that way it made it more simple, and also I think it made things a little bit more economically friendly. So it lowers the barrier to entry, in my opinion, when it comes to that. And ultimately, Caffeine AI is a self-learning apps platform. Again, there's a lot of those archetypes as of right now, it feels like. But then also on the flip side, this is kind of a pioneer when it comes to this space. It just feels a little bit different, because usually projects in this position, they don't do stuff like this. But I'm seeing it here. So yes, the price charts are boring. I'm totally aware of that. But I'm still waiting anyways. I don't feel like I want to exit, so what do I have to worry about? I don't mind waiting for years anyways. So in the meantime, if I take a look at something like this, then I'm pretty impressed. But nonetheless, seeing Caffeine AI now being available directly in Claude, wow, that's a big thumbs up for me. I think that is so impressive, and I think it's kind of legendary. But we'll wait and see what happens. They're trying to break out of that mold of being a niche sort of product. They're trying to become more mainstream. So we'll see what they can do moving forward. But this, again, like I mentioned earlier on this video, or previously in this video, I should say, we'll wait and see what they're able to do with it. But at least they're trying. But yeah, nonetheless, I'm still here waiting. However, I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a very fantastic day. It's only the captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.